بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tonight's lesson will be on اللؤلؤ والمرجان فيما اتفق عليه الشيخان, chapter number 12 in Kitab al-Siyam. The author, may Allah have mercy on him, he says, باب بيان أن القبلة في الصوم ليست محرمة على من لم تحرك شهوته. حديث عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت: إن كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يقبل بعض أزواجه وهو صائم ثم ضحكت. حديث عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت: كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقبل ويباشر وهو صائم وكان أملككم لإربه. So it says here, it is not unlawful to kiss during fasting if one is not urged by sexual desire. It is not unlawful to kiss during fasting if one is not urged by sexual desire. The relativity or the appropriateness of this chapter to Kitab al-Siyam is that it's very possible and it's very plausible for a man who's fasting to be married. It's very possible and it's very plausible, it's a high percentage for a woman who's fasting to also be married. Number 3, it's very possible, highly plausible for a man to be fasting and a woman not to be fasting. A woman who's menstruating, pregnant, breastfeeding. Or a woman could be fasting, but the man may be traveling. 4 scenarios. The wife is a resident, she's making salah, she's not on her monthly cycle, and the husband is visiting her. He came back from a trip, whatever the case is, he's a musafir. Or he had another type of rukhsah to break his fast. So all 4 of those scenarios are very possible. So therefore, if I'm fasting and you're not, can I give you a kiss before I leave? You're fasting, I'm not, etc. Or we're both fasting. Can I give you a kiss before I leave? And what is the likeliness or the likelihood for a man to live with his wife every day, every night, go off to work early in the morning, he gives her a hug and a kiss, except for Ramadan? Even if he says, it's Ramadan, I can't do this, I shouldn't do this, it's a big possibility that he'll forget by habit. Assalamu alaikum, honey, see you later. Fi amanillah, by habit. It's a big possibility that he's going to forget. Or she'll forget. Every morning she gives him a hug and a kiss, she buttons up his jacket, she gives him his lunch pail, and he goes off to seek Allah's rizq. And she gives him a hug and a kiss, have a good day, may Allah protect you. It's a big possibility that she'll forget to give him a kiss. Okay? So therefore, kissing is a part of life. Fasting is a part of the life of the Muslim. So there has to be some type of link between these 2 aspects of life. There has to be. There has to be a connection between something which is extremely popular and something which is a pillar of Islam. Kissing, pillar of Islam, so there has to be some type of hukm shari, some type of ruling of Allah and His Messenger. You cannot kiss, you should kiss, you can only do this type of kiss her on the cheek, not on the lips, you can't do this type of kiss, etc., etc., etc. That's what this chapter is about, and that is the munasabatul babi lil kitab. Munasabatul babi lil kitab. The munasabah of the chapter in Kitab al-Siyam, and then we'll read the hadith, and we'll find the munasabatul hadithaini lil bab. And that is one of the ways you study fiqh al-sunnah properly. So therefore, is it permissible for a man to kiss his wife or vice versa while they're both fasting or one of them is fasting? Why does it have to be clarified that it is not unlawful? Isn't it lawful until proven to be haram? Because a person thinks of touching the wife, kissing the wife, hugging the wife, fasting, piety, righteousness, your sexual desires, أَنُّهُ تَرَكَ طَعَامَهُ وَشَهْوَتَهُ مِنْ أَجْلِ أو كما جاء في الحديث. طيب, So therefore, a person is presupposed or presupposes that you can't what have no type of contact, and that's because a kiss is based off of affection, and emotion. And of course, there are different types of kisses. You kiss your son on the forehead, you kiss your daughter on the cheek, you kiss your wife on the lips. It's different types of kisses. And even if you kiss your wife, it's a different type of kiss, different levels of kissing. So a person automatically thinks and feels that any type of contact with the opposite sex that you're lawful to be with is automatically haram and prohibited in fasting, and it will render your fast null and void. So it's showing and clarifying that that is not the case. Well, there. طيب. Hadith number 1 is narrated by Aisha radiallahu anha. It says that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to kiss some of his wives while he was observing Sawm, and then she smiled. Hadith 676 is also narrated by Aisha. The Prophet ﷺ used to kiss and embrace his wives while he was observing fast. And he had more power to control his desires than any of you. And he had more power to control his desires any other than you. Simple, basic, easy fiqh. Organic. The turnip is grown in your backyard and your garden. When the turnip is ripe, you pull it up, you wash it off, you cut it, you put it in your salad bowl. That's. Is it permissible? Is it not permissible? Qala Rasulullah, fa'ala Rasulullah, aqarra Rasulullah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Prophet said it, he did it, he allowed it. Simple, easy, right to the point. Tayyib, the Messenger of Allah did it, and he was fasting. An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he says here, regarding this hadith, and of course, when we read the different shuruhat, the different objectives that we have, sometimes we read the sharh, or we make the explanation, the lugha of the hadith, the word. What does the word mean? And also, we look at the sharh with regards to comparison to the other ahadith. The Sharih, Ibn Hajar, Nawawi, they mention وَجَاءَ fi hadith, وَجَاءَ fi riwayat fulan, كذا. At other times, we look into the sharh to get the fiqhi perspective. The fiqhi perspective of the hadith. And whenever you have the ability to blend and to mold hadith and fiqh together, you become formidable and powerful. Fiqh and hadith together. طيب, you have a structure, you know the masail, you know the dalil for the masail, and the masail, the far'iyat, the branches, the different peculiar issues that pop up and which there's no hadith for, you're aware of them through the fiqh study. He says here, قال الشافعي والأصحاب القبلة في الصوم ليست محرمة على من لم تحرك شهوته. It says here, Shafi'i rahimahullah, the Imam of their madhab, wal ashab, and his disciples, meaning there's no discrepancy between the two. They all say is that it's permissible to kiss as long as your desires are not stirred up, as long as you don't become aroused by kissing. لكن الأولى له تركها ولا يقال إنها مكروهة له وإنما قالوا إنها خلاف الأولى في حقه مع ثبوت أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يفعلها. And these scholars, Shafi'i and his students, they say, but it's best to avoid. It's permissible to kiss your wife when you're fasting, but you shouldn't do it. You should stay away from it. But they don't say it's makruh. They don't say that. They do not hold the view that it's what? Makruh. As if makruh to them in their madhab is what? Another step. The dial. It's more red, right? It's whatever dial you're using. Temperature, speed, pressure, PSI, whatever it may be, right? It's further to the right. But tarkuhu awla is just the what? Pay attention. You shouldn't do it. But if you did it, there's no sin, etc., etc., etc. And they say it's best to avoid. And it's best to stay away from, even though the Prophet ﷺ used to do it. Now the question is, سؤال, يعني مسألة أصولية, هل بين رتبة المكروه ودرجة المكروه والمحرم درجة؟ مباح, muharram, makruh, is there something that's after makruh, before makruh? Or is it only the 5? Permissible, recommended, mubah, unprescribed, do whatever you want to, if you want to, makruh and haram. Or is there a 6th? Tarkuhu awla. something that you should stay away from, so on and so forth. This is very popular in the speech of the people of knowledge and the ulama, but you have to be mindful of these things being subjective. It's best to stay away from. Maybe in this situation, but when that word or that term is abused, there lies no doubt it's going to become a new type of ruling. There's no text against it. It's nothing that's haram, but because of this person or this culture, or you should what? Yeah, you shouldn't do it. You should have until when? And then once, twice, 3 times, and the next thing you know, anyone who wears this, who dresses like this, who has this color, who puts on their shoes, who holds his wife's hand in public, then it becomes what? Makruh. Or even what? Haram, and that's a problem. So the sunnah establishes a ruling. There's nothing to go against it. Bismillah. But it does not mean that a person is supposed to be void of hikmah. Be wise. Know what to do, when to do, etc. Be mindful. You don't always have to do every single thing. And there are many permissible things and many sunnah acts that we don't do on a daily basis. Prioritize. That's the point. But be careful. And don't say, tarku awla because la. The Prophet did it. I kissed my wife outside of Ramadan and I want to what? I want to kiss her in Ramadan. Kiss on the cheek, quick hug and a kiss, and that's it. Assalamu alaikum. I'll see you later. I love you. Take care. La bas. As long as you have control over your desires. As long as you have control of your desires. All right, moving forward. So that's a mas'ala usuliyah, and da'wiyah right there. Oh, you shouldn't do this in front of the people because, a daddy shouldn't dress like this, and you shouldn't have this brand name because they're not going to. Until when will that be said? Until what? Ila mata. Until when will it be said the people are too ignorant? You can't pray in your shoes. Oh, even though it's your masjid because the people that can't accept it. Until when? They have these people here in this masjid in this country. They have not been praying in their shoes their entire lives. The countries from which they come from, they never what? Prayed in their shoes. The muftis in their countries tell them that it's haram to pray in their shoes. When will you keep saying what? You shouldn't pray in your shoes because they want to say, until when? Until they're dead? 50, 70, 80 years old, then say, I want to implement the sunnah and pray in my shoes today. So that's a problem. Let alone the fact that the ignorant people and their suspicions and their thoughts and opinions and their full cups, as we said many times before, is not to dominate the dalil. The dalil. I know you don't do it in your country, or you accepted Islam in jail. You're a black American or white American. I know you didn't get it in a jailhouse or kada, but I have my proof. If you like it, alhamdulillah, and if you don't like it, ma salama. I didn't do anything to you. I didn't disrespect you. I didn't harm you. I have the knowledge from Quran and Sunnah that states that I can pray like this. If you want to learn, alhamdulillah, marhaba, ahlan wa sahlan. I'll show you. And if you're ignorant and you have a full cup, it's haram, brother, then what? Ma salama. Have a good day. Lakum dinukum waliyadin. You don't control me. This is the proper attitude. And we cannot let ignorant people control the rulings of Allah and His Messenger. You shouldn't do it because of this person's culture. You shouldn't do it because the people aren't ready. Because. Sometimes what? Yes, you have to say that. But not what? Every single time in which the sunnah becomes abandoned and neglected because of the ahwa wa raghabat amat nas. The desires and the opinions of the 9 to 5 Muslims. You do not control this masjid. You don't control the sunnah. At your job, at your home, with your wife and children, you don't what? You don't control. You don't dominate everything there. So what makes you think you come to the masjid and what? It's a huge problem that many Muslims have today. And it's a factor of age. The imam is younger than me. Or race. The imam is from a different race, so therefore he's automatically ignorant. He doesn't understand the things that what? I understand. Or a difference in madhab, and the list goes on. So, the imam of the masjid, the sheikh of the markaz, first and foremost is the proper knowledge. You gotta have strong, solid ilm. And you can't be afraid and scared. If you've read it, if you've studied it, if you understood it properly, then there's no fear. Anyone asks you or confronts you, you do what? You tell them. Tafaddal, kada, bas. You have good character. You don't be haughty. You don't be mean to the people or harsh to the people. Be nice, be friendly, but remain firm upon what you believe in. Everyone understand this? And if you're confident of the ilm that you have learned and heard, then there's no what? It's no mushkila. Everyone understand this? There are many examples of this I've experienced in my own life. Okay, of course, being young, looking younger than what I am, right? Being black American, coming from the urban inner city, not from the suburbs. So many different levels of prejudice that people have against you. You're in a masjid and there's Somalis and you're not Somali. Or you're in a West African masjid and you're not from Guinea or Gambia. Or you're not from Palestine. Whatever the issue is, al-muhim. Al-muhim. People, they'll challenge you. And they'll try to come up to you and correct you and say this. Oh, brother, why did you say this? And why did you care that? And why did you care that? And why did you care that? If you have the knowledge, if you know what you're doing, you have no what? No issue. You tell them, billatihi ahsan. Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh, thank you. This is a hadith, kada kada, shukran. He gets mad, he gets angry, he calls your name. Fine, have a great day. I've done my job. So once I was in Canada, there was a hadith that was talking about Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam lying for the sake of Allah. The times which Ibrahim lied, right? For the sake of Allah. So after the khutbah, I was walking in the hallway. There was I think his brother may have been from Egypt or Palestine, one of the two. Okay, he came up to me. He had respect, but he definitely had an agenda. And he said, yeah, Sheikh, he said, what is this? How did Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam lie? What do you mean? Khalilullah, how did he lie, brother? Such and such as. I said, nah, yeah, Sheikh. More than once he did it. So he said, what do you mean? I explained to him. Hadith, Sahihain, Anas ibn Malik, kada. So he said, Sheikh, I've been around the world. I've been in Saudi, I've been in Kuwait, I've been in Egypt, I've been in Canada. He said, all of my Sheikh, I've never ever heard them say what you just quoted. I said, huh? Alhamdulillah. You go back to Sahih Bukhari, and you go back to Sahih Muslim, and you know what? You find the kadhibat, the 3 lies of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. When he said that she was my what? My sister. And another time he said, Inni saqim, I'm sick. I can't go out to the festival, and he smashed the idols. And the time when she says, Bel fa'alahu, he says, rather the what? The big idol did it. It was all lies that he did for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to preserve the deen. So the point is, if I was unsure of that, if I didn't memorize it, if I didn't know it, if I was blindly following another sheikh, then I would have a problem. But as long as you know, and you've read, and you have the dalil, you have no what? No issue. If they like you, they accept you. Alhamdulillah, if they don't, you what? You've done your job. But do not allow the juhal, the ignorant people, to rule and to dominate and to conquer knowledge. And that is what we have allowed in so many masjids. And it's contradictory to the worldly affairs as well, right? Because when they go to work in an office building or taxi cab or construction site, they don't what? That's right. They will never listen to you, but they don't dominate things in their own spheres of occupation and influence. So why in the what? When it comes to the deen. So you got to have courage, and you have to learn as an imam or as a scholar or a da'iyah, everyone is not going to agree with you. Everyone is not going to like you. Everyone is not just going to say, oh, jazakallah khairan, wonderful. There are going to be people that are going to what? Object to you. And find fault in you and criticize you. They may be jealous. They may be envious. Who are you, you young kid, to come tell me about my religion? Who are you? You from this country, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh. I come from this country. It's going to exist. So there's another reason why you got to what? Study hard. You got to stand firm on what you are upon. Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he then says here, لأنه صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يؤمن في حقه مجاوزة حد القبلة ويخاف على غيره مجاوزتها كما قالت عائشة كانت أملككم لإربه وأما من حركت شهوته في حرام في حقه على الأصح عند أصحابنا وقيل مكروهة كراهة تنزيه قال القاضي قد قال بإباحتها للصائم مطلقا جماعة من الصحابة والتابعين وأحمد وإسحاق وداود وكره على الإطلاق مالك وقال ابن عباس وأبو حنيفة والثوري والأوزاعي والشافعي تكره للشاب دون الشيخ الكبير وهي رواية عن مالك وروى بن وهب عن مالك رحمه الله والشافعي تكره للشاب دون الشيخ الكبير ورواية عن مالك وروى بن وهب عن مالك رحمه الله إباحتها في الصوم النفل دون الفرض ولا خلاف أنها لا تبطل الصوم إلا أن ينزل المني أو أن ينزل المني بالقبلة. Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he then says, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam was safe. He was protected. There was no fear or harm that things would go past the kiss. As far as other people besides the Prophet ﷺ, there is fear. Man kisses his wife and he thinks or he feels. وهكذا. And then obviously, this is an issue when we start saying the Prophet was allowed to do something because, and the people after him are not allowed. We have to have a proof for that. And the origin and the default is a tashri'. It's legislation for everyone. The Prophet ﷺ says, لِتَأْخُذُوا مِنِّي مَنَاسِكَكُمْ. Learn Hajj from صَلُّوا كَمَا رَأَيْتُمُونِي أُصَلِّي. Pray as you see me praying. Okay? So the default is when the Prophet does something and it is not mentioned that it's specific to him or exclusive to him, then it's what? For everyone. Everybody understand this? Moving forward. As Aisha radiallahu anha said, وَكَانَ أَمْلَكَكُمْ. He had most control over his desires. No, he says, as far as if a man kisses his wife, وَهُرِّكَتْ شَهْوَتُهُ, and his desires are roused up, then the correct view, according to the Shafi'i madhab, is that it's what? Haram. A man kisses his wife, he's fasting, and now he starts thinking about intercourse, or he starts thinking about this. Then the Shafi'is, the correct view to them, meaning it's khilaf what? عندهم. It's khilaf in their madhab. He says al-asah, is that it's haram at that point. طيب. وقيل, and the second view, يعني this inferior view in the Shafi'i madhab. انتبه the inferior view, that نووي هو رجح تحريم. وقيل يعني قال بعض الشافعية, they also say that it's makruh. Moving forward. Qadi Iyad rahimahullah, before Nawawi, he says there were many great scholars who held the view that it was lawful without any detail, from the Sahaba and from the Tabi'een. They said that a man can what? Kiss your wife, whether it stirs your desires up or not. From these great scholars, there were some from the Sahaba, some from the Tabi'een, Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, Ishaq ibn Rahuya, Dawood ibn Ali al-Zahiri. And he says here, other scholars said that it was makruh, such as Imam Malik. As far as Abdullah ibn Abbas, Abu Hanifa, Sufyan Thawri, Al-Awza'i, and Shafi'i, they say it is disliked for a young man and not an old man. In other words, they're looking at the reason. They're looking at the what? The reason. But this is inconsistent because a young man could be as what? As strong as desires as a what? As a young man, or even more. Everyone understand this? Many young brothers. An older man. That's an older man. Yes, an older man. He may have more what? Desires than a younger man. But they're looking at the hikmah, the wisdom behind it. Moving forward, he goes on to mention some more discrepancies here. He says, and some say that there's a difference between the mandatory fast versus the obligatory fast, or the recommended fast, excuse me. Tayyib, etc. He says, no, he says none of them differ, that it does not nullify one's fast. Even if he did it, it does not what? Unless a person reaches the finish line just from a kiss. Allahu Alam. Every man is different. Allahu Alam. You may see it far-fetched, but what? Allahu Alam. Tayyib. Now, moving forward. This goes to show you, this is a beautiful illustration and demonstration of dirasat fiqh. And how these different aqwal, these scholars, they're what? They're trying their best. They're doing what? They're trying their best. Everyone understand? They're trying their best in these different details that are not mentioned in the sunnah. If they make sense to you, you can take them. And if you don't want to, what? You're not required to take them. So therefore, I'm 18 years old. I just got married last week. It's Ramadan. I leave the home. I give my wife a kiss. What's the ruling? You Jews. Disliked? Huh? Why could that? Well, what if a person says, well, your father-in-law is Maliki? Then what?
He should be living in my house.
Hello, Akbar. He's not living in the house. He came outside to bring your daughter some food or a bag of lemons for iftar. Or she told her dad. Mathalan, and we get the point? You're not required to stick to these tafasil, which are not madhkura fi sunnah. If they make sense, if they bring benefit, alhamdulillah. Everybody clear on this? Moving forward. This also goes to show us is that the real life of day-to-day dealings, the practicality of fiqh and of hadith. And Islam does not make you a robot, a mechanical being. And you seeking knowledge and studying knowledge is not to turn you into a mechanical being. Fluid and lucid. This is real life. Man kisses his wife, there's nothing wrong with that. A scholar, a great warrior, a mujahid, there's no what? There's no mushkila, and there's no mushkila in mentioning it. We're studying it. Whose honor was more sacred than the Prophet's? Whose honor was more sacred than Ummahatul Mu'mineen?
No.
But Aisha, she did what? She narrated, she passed it down, and she smiled. In most cases, she's talking about what? Herself. He used to kiss some of his wives, and then she smiled, meaning she was talking about who? Herself. Like a woman was saying, you know. Everyone understand? Clear. Moving forward. طيب. He says here, واحتجوا له بالحديث المشهور في السنن وقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم رأيت لو تمضمضت ومعنى حديث أن المضمضة مقدمة الشرب. طيب مقدمة الشرب وقد علمت أنها لا تفعل إلى آخره. طيب moving forward. طيب. Listen to this, huh? Why did Aisha smile? Why did she laugh? قال القاضي قيل يحتمل ضحكها أو يحتمل ضحكها التعجب ممن خالف في هذا. The first interpretation why she smiled is that she was shocked and amazed at the people who had other views and opinions. So there's another sahabiya or tabi'iyya who says that a man can't what? Kiss his wife when he's fasting. She narrated it and then she did what? She laughed like, you haven't heard of this? You don't know this? Your ra'i is going against the what? The zahir. Your fiqhi madhabs is going against the what? The zahir of the text. So I'm laughing at you. Tayyib, moving forward. Second interpretation he says here. وقيل تعجب من نفسها حيث جاءت بمثل هذا الحديث الذي يستحي من ذكره لا سيما حديث المرأة به عن نفسها للرجال لكن اضطرت إلى ذكره لتبليغ الحديث والعلم فتتعجب من ضرورة الحال المضطرة لها إلى ذلك. And others they say rather she was laughing and smiling at herself as if she was shy or embarrassed. And what a woman does with a man, what a husband does with his wife is something which is private. But durura is a necessity of making tabligh. Passing on the what? The knowledge, the ikram al-Muslim. Tayyib, spreading the deen, spreading the ilm, in which there's something which is embarrassing, or maybe backbiting someone, or something, but right now you have to what? You gotta spread it. Look at the golden qaida right there. Tabligh al-ilm, ya akhi, spreading knowledge. Wow, this brother's gonna get mad at me. What? You say what? So be it. Or Fulan is gonna get angry with me. You say what? So be it. This one is not gonna speak to me no more. This brother's not gonna be my friend. He's not gonna give me a candy bar from the store if I say I feel that Sheikh Fulan's wrong. Then what? So be it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta man up if you're gonna deal with ilm and da'wah, right? How many friends I lost? They weren't your what? Weren't real friends. If they wanted to boycott you and cut you off over something so trivial and trifling like that, we're never your real friends. They were only friends as long as you could do good for them and as long as you walk their tightrope. Everyone understand this? So you can't be afraid and scared when it comes to spreading knowledge. And the same applies to you may have to praise yourself. You may have to pass on some knowledge. And that includes you what? Praising yourself. Then what? So be it. Bismillah. Moving forward. He says here, وَقِيلَ ضَحِكَتْ سُرُورًا بِتَذَكُّرِ مَكَانِهَا مِنَ النَّبِيِّ صلى الله عليه وسلم وحالها معه وملاطفته لها. And another interpretation is that she laughed and she smiled, reminiscing the good days with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how affectionate he was with her. When she thought about him kissing her and hugging her, then she did what? It brought joy to her heart. Look at the beauty of knowledge. Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he then says, قال القاضي ويحتمل أنها ضحكت تنبيها على أنها صاحبة القصة ليكون أبلغ في الثقة بحديثها. And then it says, the last interpretation, according to Qadi Iyadh, as we mentioned, is that she was the one that was kissed and hugged in the story. And she only mentioned that for the people to trust her even more. Like, I know what I'm talking about. The Prophet used to kiss his wives and hug his wives when he was what? Fasting. And it was me. I'm not passing on from a second person, a third person, so on and so forth. Khair, inshallah, this goes to show you the scholastics of Aisha, radiallahu ta'ala anha. The knowledge and the seriousness, what? That she was upon. Moving forward. This hadith also shows us that a true scholar and a true warrior and a true leader and a true person of sunnah is to be affectionate with his wife. And that does not go against knowledge and sunnah and hadith to be affectionate with your wife. It doesn't mean that you have to be lewd and lustful in public or say this, but it does not go against manhood or ilm or sunnah knowledge to be what? Affectionate with one's wife. Khair, inshallah, and look at the benefits of it. That one small act of affection was what? Passed on and turned to dawah. Khair, inshallah. We'll stop here tonight.